What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Magic Market Watch video. For the first week of May, we are still seeing some influence from the Commander product and the Streets of New Capenna main set. As always, if you appreciate the videos, please do subscribe to the channel. Helps out a lot. Thank you so much. First one to talk about today is Boldware Heavyweights. So we are seeing a pretty big jump from under $1 to almost a market price of $5. See the listing also getting close to $8 as well. So that's a pretty big percentage change. And you're seeing a lot of these cards spike because of the new Commander option, the Beamtown Bullies. People are speculating that a lot of these cards, it could be a continued strategy where you give your opponents less than favorable ETBs on creatures, less than favorable creatures in general. And this one, when it enters the battlefield, each opponent may search their library for a creature card and put it into play. So if you give this to an opponent, it comes into play under their control. You can just cheat into play your best creature from your library. So that's pretty funny. Long term though, I don't know how well these are going to do. It all depends on whether or not we're going to get more support for this type of strategy. If it's just the Beamtown Bullies, I think it's going to age pretty poorly. So just be aware that I don't think a lot of these cards that you see going up to $5 or $10 are going to stay there for long. Next up, we have another card that is influenced by a Commander product, Commander Dika Fractal Theorist. So this is definitely because of Anhelo and that whole strategy. If you're looking for upgrades, you need cards like Dika Fractal Theorist because you need creature tokens to sacrifice for casualty. And that's really it. It does have a bit of a premium because it's a Commander product card from the previous year, so it's a little bit harder to find compared to other rares that are more readily available, but it's the same situation. I wouldn't expect Dika to hold its value for that long. A benefit to it is that you have Magecraft, so you are getting a creature token when you copy the spells with Anhelo. I guess that would be the one reason why it's a bit more expensive than the other ones that do something similar like Talrend. So for me personally, I think 10, 15, that's the ceiling. If it goes any higher than that, then I'll eat my words, but I really do think that this is probably going to get down below closer to 5. Next up, we have Grand Crescendo, and take this with a grain of salt because this is an extended art variant, but it is seeing a $10 market price, which means people are actually paying for it. At instant speed for 2 white mana and X, you create X, 1/1 green and white citizen creature tokens, and creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. So it's a lot like Secure the Wastes, but for an additional mana in white, you're also getting 2 color creature tokens if color matters, and you're giving all of your creatures indestructible, so it could be a protection spell if there's some kind of board wipe, making it a little bit better than Secure the Wastes in my opinion. Again, the price is according to the extended art variant. The actual version is probably going to be much cheaper, so do keep that in mind. It is a pain having to look at the market and you see that some of these prices are influenced because of weird secret layer versions and extended art versions. But the next card we have is Ibnblade Reaper, all the way back in Onslaught. This is again another one because of the Beamtown Bullies. I'm going to read it because you probably can't see it. It's a little bit blurry, the original image here. This is a 3 mana 1/1 cleric. Whenever it attacks, you lose half your life rounded up, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, that player loses half their life rounded up too. And it has a morph cost of 5, so you can morph the creature if you want to. You're probably not if you're playing that deck. It's great because with that Commander option, the Beamtown Bullies, you're goading these creatures, so not only are you giving them to them, but they're going to have to attack. So if they are able to deal combat damage, then the opponent that they're attacking will lose half their life rounded up. I don't think that's likely though unless the opponent they're attacking doesn't have any blockers, so you're almost guaranteed to at least get that first trigger, which is good enough. That's the whole point of that deck, to get at least one good trigger, hurt one opponent. You could see a relatively unknown card under $1, seeing a market value of around 2 now, and again, that's a lot of these cards that are impacted because of the Beamtown Bullies. Another gainer we have because of the precon deck with the Phoenix Commander option is Immortal Phoenix. I don't know why this one's going up. I guess Phoenixes in general are going to be going up. They've never really been that great in general. You've had some that stood out in the past, but that's usually been in standard. I've never really seen them work out that well in Commander. This one, when it dies, you return it to its owner's hand, so I would say it's even worse just because it doesn't have any kind of graveyard shenanigans where it just comes straight into play. Having to then recast it for 6 mana seems like a big pain, but it is going up. I mean, it pretty much doubled in market value because of the Phoenix Commander option. And next up, I just talked about it a moment ago, Secure the Wastes. This is also seeing a bit of an increase. We do have a token Commander option that I think would really benefit from this, and that's why. I think also Pioneer is having a big impact on a lot of these cards from Khans of Tarkir. They're no longer in standard, haven't been in standard forever, and they're maybe not quite that strong to have a big impact in modern. Pioneer's kind of that in between. So that's another possibility. As you can see, it's going up up from $5 to around $8 in the market value. So as we just mentioned, I don't think it's quite as good as Grand Crescendo. I think that card offers a little bit more than just creature tokens. You get protection, even if it is for an additional mana. Instant speed, I mean, you go back to right around Dominaria, right before M19, wanting to play any kind of token deck, and you saw this card was like $7. It was a bit of a shock. So it's been going up and down. You see the chart. It's a fun card to buy and sell because there's a lot of volatility, there's a lot of movement. I do recommend cards if they show stability, but that's only if I think they're reaching their all-time low. Cards like these are fun because you could buy them for $2 and then see them go up to $8. And that may not just happen once, that may happen once a year or once every other year. And then you sell them off when they're closer to $8. Pick them back up when they're $2, so a lot of potential. The next one we have is Herald of the Pantheon. Did go up around Kamigawa Neon Dynasty for obvious reasons. It's a big enchantment set, but as we can see in New Capenna, there's not really a heavy enchantment theme, and I don't really think any commander options that would take enchantments to another level or help you experiment with anything new. On top of that, I just don't really think Herald of the Pantheon is that strong anymore. If you want your enchantment spells to cost 1 less, you're gonna want that from an enchantment source just so everything synergizes perfectly. You do gain some life off of it. I don't want to say it's pointless to play it. It's just I don't think it's that powerful anymore. I mean, this card came out in 2015, folks. It's a 7-year-old card. I liked it back then a lot more than I do now. So in the chart, you can see it got up around $7. Now it's heading right back down. So that was our first loser. The second loser we have here is Haunting Voyage. And by the way, I'm not going to be talking about any of the brand new New Capenna cards that are losing their value because a lot of that is cards are like 1,000% higher when they just came out and then they immediately fall. So I'm not going to go over the percentage and decrease for all of those. We would be here all day. Haunting Voyage is basically a one-sided Patriarch's Bidding if you have the Foretell cost. I think it's a great card, but after Patriarch's Bidding got a reprint and everyone pretty much lost their interest in it, you also saw a similar effect here with Haunting Voyage. I remember when everyone had wanted Patriarch's Bidding, and if you got it for your tribal deck, it meant you can just bring back all of your awesome creatures. Like if you were playing dragons, this was awesome. If you were playing vampires, zombies, any tribe that's typically capable of playing black, it was a very powerful spell. This doesn't help your opponents at all though, which I think might make it a little bit better for your deck. I think it can go even lower though. I know it's a loser right now. I don't want to make it seem like whenever I talk about cards losing value that you should pick them up immediately. I want the right price on this. As you can see, the market trend is looking like it's going even lower below where the previous lows were. So this could potentially be under a $2 card. I would say if you're capable of getting it for $2, pick it up. It's still a mythic rare. There's always some premium on rares and mythic rares compared to every other spell, of course. So we'll see if it's a good investment, but not right now. I would say wait a little bit longer. And the last loser, and as well the last card to talk about today, is Captive Audience. This is a similar situation to Secure the Wastes. See a lot of volatility there, a lot of spikes. It doesn't seem to want to get to that $6 value and hold. So you see it go below 4, you see it go back up close to 6. That's a pretty decent swing, and that's all over the course of a year. So not very long to see that kind of price action, especially considering before 2021, it was under a $2 card. So what I would predict, if we're just going off of this chart, by 2023, it could easily be an $8 card, or even a $10 card. If we're just going off of the $4 gap that we're seeing, I think that would be a safe prediction, unless it gets reprinted in a pre-con deck. There's always that caveat. When you get a good card like this, it's not super expensive, it's still affordable. If Wizards were to reprint an expensive card, they would get their heads chopped off. So they tend to go for ones like these that are like $4 or $5, maybe 10 at the most. That way they're not pissing off too many collectors, so you could see this getting reprinted, and especially because we have Commander products for pretty much every set. It's a good card, I like it. It is 7 mana, so it's not super practical, but usually the person you throw this on to, they're not going to be too happy. Anyway, that's going to do it for the Market Watch for May 5th. I'm Commander Void. I will see you all next time.